time to move on to the next discussion. Abia State, the home of the self-acclaimed leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Kanu, is currently on lockdown with heavy military presence.
Now, this is following the launch of Operation Python Dance 2 in the state and the declaration by the Nigerian Defense Headquarters that IPOB is now a terrorist organization. But some Nigerians and indeed foreigners say the federal government should stay its hand and explore the option of dialogue.
Well, could dialogue be an option to end the crisis in that region and end the struggle for Biafra? We'll try to get answers now. We have, of course, lawyer Fred Nzeako in the studio with us to talk more about this. And, of course, the option of dialogue has been posited by many in the country. Good morning, first off.
Morning,
thank you for joining us on the show.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning.
All right. Yes, many people are calling for dialogue, that the federal government should dialogue with IPOB. But then, is it now even constitutional, before we go into the legality of prescribing the group, is it even constitutional now for the government to say we want to dialogue with a banned group like IPOB?
I think it is laughable because government has put the horse before the cat. Simple. Government has done what it should first do. Is now thinking to do it later. Government has completely bungled this IPOB thing on three very basic grounds. One, in the first instance, it is not the duty of the military to handle internal protests. Because that is what I see IPOB as, internal protests. It is not the duty of the military. That means the police have been relegated to the background, and that is the challenge and the thing we have been talking about for a very long time, that the police should be enabled to do their work. In the second instance, it is not even now granted that the military is already there. The narrative is extremely worrisome. Why would the military not adopt what I call psychology of communication? Why Python dance? Python is a huge animal that lives in the forest. It gives impression that the military had only gone there to swallow the people. You are in an amphitheater with a python. You end up being swallowed by the python. So, in the north, there is Operation Lafia Dole. What is Lafia Dole? That peace must reign. Why wouldn't they adopt similar code name in the southeast? Why don't you adopt Operation Udo Kama? Why don't you adopt Operation Njikoka? Why don't you adopt Operation Anibuofu? Meaning peace is supreme, unity is strength. We are one. These are all names you can use. Why use that name, Operation Python Dance? You have already destroyed the psyche of the people. The people, the same people you have gone there to protect, because you said, according to elementary, that they have gone there because of the security challenges in the southeast. So you have gone there to protect the people of the southeast, and you have massively destroyed their mentality. So why adopt that name? In the territory of Northeast, where there is massive terrorism, you adopted a benign name like Lafia Dole. In the Southeast, where there is no such challenge, you adopt such a wide name like Python Dance. The people are terrorized.
Okay.
Now, the third mistake that the military has made, and which is the most terrible one, is codenaming and calling IPOB a terrorist organization. By all intents and purposes, it cannot stand. And that is why every well-meaning Nigerian, every well-meaning observer of Nigeria, the whole international community is shouting and saying, this is wrong. This is wrong. Anybody who does not see it as being wrong is only trying to flow with the tide. Government has created a field and filled that field with landmines, and then expect players to go and play in that field. That cannot stand. So why branding IPOB a terrorist organization? And then in the words of the spokesman of the military, that they have stones
cocktails,
club sticks, and broken bottles. For goodness sake, can that be tools of terrorism. And then he said that they do stop and search, and then they extort people. For goodness sake, can that be terrorism? So I think what happens is that the then acting president, our own vice president, Professor Oshibajo, when he said that hate speech could be equated with terrorism, we rose up and said, Oga, this is not right. And he had not stopped making that statement. It is on the basis of that the military has now latched on and said IPOB is a terrorist organization. So to brand somebody or a group terrorist is no longer heavy in the mouth of Nigerians.
Okay,
because the leader of the country has so done. And I want to believe that, I think he said that in the heat of the moment, under the excruciating desperation of the massive hate speech that is going on, especially in social media. And I, for once, advise that the government should ignore most of those statements because many of them are not meant to be carried through.
Okay. Now, the military came up with some of the reasons why they had to term IPOB a terrorist organization. Whether that is right or wrong is not even the issue right now. But the point there is, they were talking about IPOB forming the Biafra Secret Service, the BSS, which means that they now have a kind of a military, quasi-military arrangement. They have the Biafra National Guard, which is like a police for themselves. And they started talking about carving out. In fact, they've named areas where from the territory where it is called Biafra, as the case may be. So when it comes to issues of that kind,
yes,
how would you have wanted the Nigerian government or the military, either through the military or directly, how would you have wanted them to engage when Nnamdi Kanu was coming up with an arrangement like that?
Government, look, there are so many, government made Nnamdi Kanu to start with. And I say that with due sense of modesty. That during the build-up for 2015 election, the attitude, the utterances of Nnamdi Kanu made President Jonathan to lose the election. I have done a comparative analysis of the scores, of the electoral scores of Jonathan in 2011 and 2015, and then that of President Buhari in 2011 and now 2015. And the statistics have shown that in all these 5 core states where the Operation Python dance is now dancing, in all the 5 core states, President Jonathan lost 20-something, 30-something% of the votes he scored in 2011. And President Buhari gained, in some cases, up to 1,000%. Because the bulk of the people that would have voted for President Jonathan in 2015 stayed away on account of this Biafra thing. Can anybody begin to deny that there was no Biafra? It is unnecessary denial. There was a Biafra. And Biafra had a territory. And that territory is still there. Yes, it is Nigerian territory. But
Biafra ceased to exist.
Biafra ceased to exist after the war, but not in the mind of those who are agitating for it. They want it revived. We are not flowing there because a lot of us don't believe in that. We believe in restructuring of the polity based on equity, good governance, and justice. But the fact remains that if you say Nnamdi Kanu and his group carved their territory, they never carved their territory. You don't cover a territory by word of mouth. They only mouthing. They even went as far as going up to Kogi State. They can
even Benue State.
They can even include Ekiti. That was mere mouthing. Does that amount to anything? I mean, it doesn't amount to anything. I can sit down here and say, I will own America.
But can we really say
Does it amount to anything?
Can we really say it was mouthing? Because there were some statements that are too sensitive that I cannot even relay here.
Yes.
Mentioning the president, what he would do to the president.
He had mentioned so many
the president's wife,
he has said, we know that. He has said so many unprintable things.
But then when you talk about the sovereignty of a country as a lawyer, you know that it is universal.
The sovereignty,
once any actor or any organization threatens the sovereignty of a country, that country has right to say no right is absolute once you threaten the sovereignty of a country.
There is no way anybody can prove to me as a scholar of international law that you can threaten the sovereignty of a country by word of mouth. Never. You cannot.
Formation of the BSS, Biafra National Guard.
I'm coming to the issue of formation of BSS and Biafra National Guard. I'm coming. The issue of has anybody in government investigated to confirm? I saw the picture of the Biafra National Guard, a group of people that may have taken group photograph working with a private security agency. Did you see any of them with even penknife? Does the National Guard go empty-handed? Even our civil defense corps has an arm of civil defense, or an arm that is enabled to carry rifles. Have you seen even penknife around the people that you call their friends?
It's just the beginning.
No, I'm coming.
It's just the beginning.
No, I'm coming.
Because a lot of them are not even trained to
those people,
be able to properly handle.
has not investigated to confirm that the images they saw, because it's all images, that the images they saw are not a group of people working with a private security organization who took a group photograph.
But
I'm yet to
defense spokesman said that before the military was deployed to the east, they had done their homework. They went in there, they gathered enough intelligence for months before they decided to deploy the military. So would you not believe
Nnamdi Kanu on the issue of BSS? He made a statement, said that when Nigerians started condemning the formation of BSS, he said the group was formed to protect
as a vigilante.
Exactly.
He said it was formed as a vigilante group.
So meaning that truly IPOB formed the group. So it is a valid point by the military saying that IPOB truly formed an illegal group against Nigeria.
Look, when you form a group and you give it a name that is higher and above what the group can act and do, has the military come out to tell us, going by their intelligence, that they have seen any member of the group with a rifle?
Should they wait till
I'm coming now. Have they? Have they said, we saw these people with machete, we saw these people with a jackknife? These are apparatus and apparati of military. None. If Nnamdi Kanu, look, what Nnamdi Kanu is doing, because there is a failure of communication, Nnamdi Kanu is only catching in on that. Yes, he's insulting everybody, virtually everybody. There is nobody that is spared from his insult. And I had earlier advocated that government should just pick this young man and try him for libel. Try him for criminal falsification of information.
How about treason?
He's not never, and that is why government went and chose the high wire case of treason, and that's why they couldn't go further. And they kept Nnamdi Kanu for long in detention. Somebody that was relatively unknown suddenly turned to become a hero. It was government that caused it, and we said, why are you keeping him here? Against the law. So everything, most of the things that the government has done around IPOB has been illegal, against the law, and then not following due process, and that is why virtually most people are not standing with government on this issue. Yes, I don't stand with IPOB. I don't stand 100% against what they are doing. But as a Nigerian and as a respecter of law, I expect our government to show the way in respect for the rule of law.
All right, Fred, we are all witnesses to, even those who were not around or who are very young, will certainly know how the Rwandan genocide started. It was the word of mouth. And it started until the broadcasting of hate speeches and all of that. And we till today, Rwanda is still trying to put itself together, trying to rebuild from the genocide. The way Nnamdi Kanu was going with his hate speeches and all of that, and even with the Radio Biafra, that he was able to bind the minds of a lot of people from the East and all of that. And today, a lot of people have really ideated with the way he stood up with his issues and whatever he has put forth. If that was left to continue in that way, you don't think that it would jeopardize the integrity of Nigeria?
Mike, you don't know the huge resources available to government. If you do, you will understand what I'm talking about. I have a fair idea, but I don't even know 10% of the huge resources available to government. Why would government allow Radio Biafra to keep broadcasting for that long? Government has every opportunity to scramble and jam the frequency and it will come to nullity. Why didn't government do that? Why wouldn't government, that is on one side. Now, on the issue of hate speech, yes, we know that hate speech is not good. And we condemn hate speech. IPOB is not all about Nnamdi Kanu. Why did government not do the needful? Why did government not establish a fifth columnist in IPOB and use that to destabilize Nnamdi Kanu? Why didn't government do that? And that's why I say that even the state governments of the Southeast are indolent. I'm sorry to use that word, but as far as IPOB is concerned, they have been terribly indolent because they speak the same language, It's very easy to infuse the fifth communist in IPOP. It's very easy. Nnamdi Kanu is not alone. What of all those men around him? Why don't you throw up those men? Every man has an ego. By the time you throw them up, Nnamdi Kanu's ego will die down. And then these people that the government will throw up will champion Nnamdi Kanu. What is the job of intelligence, for goodness sake? So what are we talking about? These are things, that facilities that are available to government. Security vote, what is he doing in the hands of the governors? What have they done with it? With respect to IPOP? And then why have they allowed the thing to fester this far? And then allow Nnamdi Kanu to be insulting virtually everybody. How old is he?
So
I saw the Civil War as a boy in a boys' company. And I can tell you for free that it is one thing I will never want for anybody on earth. My good friend was walking along with me. We were going to give information to Biafran soldiers as our boss company. And then Ferret fell and killed him beside me. It could have been me. So why on earth will I allow anybody to continue to drag Nigeria on that path? But then, why did government allow such a huge marginalization of the Southeast? Why would government, it's as if every successive government has a policy, a deliberate policy, state policy of massively suppressing the Southeast, of denying the prevention and marginalization of the Southeast. And that is what has allowed people who should ordinarily not talk to talk.
Okay then, Fred, let's IPOP, yes, talking, and then the marginalization of
deprivation. I prefer the word deprivation.
Deprivation of the Southeast, really. But then, what about the leaders of the region, the governors over time? Many years, I've been to the East many times, and you will be alarmed what you see there, the erosion of the place, and almost inaction of the governments of all the states in the region. You could only pick like a state. Going to Abia by road to Akwa Ibom is a sorry story for anyone that has flied that road. And it's like that for many years, everywhere. So why have the leaders...
Where does the ecological fund come from?
Well, wait,
okay.
Apart from that problem, I'm talking about general infrastructure program being put in place. So apart from the national issue, what about the leaders of the region doing the needful, first off, doing right by their people, and then they can go to the center and say that, you need to do this for us. Have they even hopped on the plight of their own people first off? For example, their inaction of what has been happening so far till now. Has
anybody listened to them for the ones they have?
Have them been very loud enough?
I am sure would they overthrow government before you know that they are loud enough? If they don't speak, what of the NGOs? What of the public analysts? The ones who speak, are we not Nigerians? Must I be a governor before government listens to me? How many times have I mentioned about this or second Niger bridge?
Access
no, I'm coming. How many times? Yes, but I have access to talk to the people. They have access. But by the time they speak and they are not listened to, where does the ecological fund come from? Is it not from federal government? Certain problems in the Southeast are beyond the capacity of the state governments. Don't forget that when you go and look at the money accruing to the state, I'm not holding brief for them because a lot of them really don't perform. Let Mark underline that. A lot of them don't perform. It is lack of performance of the governors and lack of performance of the people in authority that has allowed this thing to fester all this while. But now, as a component part of Nigeria, if the governors are not performing, and you know that authority flows from the center, what has the center done to help the people? When people begin to argue that it's because of lack of appointment, it is not. It is because of lack of infrastructural development. It is because of lack of federal government presence. What does it concern the man in Aba, whether the man in Ebonyi is made a minister or made a PAMSEC or made anything? It doesn't follow. But what concerns him is that the so-called federal road around his place is not touched for the past 20, 30 years. That is what concerns him. What concerns him is that there is no hospital in his environment. The one that he has, owned by the state, does not function. And then he goes elsewhere and he sees similar thing functioning for others. What concerns him is that no money comes from the center for ecological fund. That can be issues. These can be issues that will worry the people, not issue of okay, well, my brother is not giving the minister, my brother is not giving the DG. Those are mundane. The core issues are the issues with the development of the people. What concerns him when he wakes up and feels that he cannot get employment simply because he's from this place. And then his friend from Sokoto, he scored better, goes for an interview, and he's taken. So these are the things that worry him.
Yeah, Fred, let's look at some real issues here. From 1999 until 2007, the office of the Senate President which is number 3 when it comes to influence, when it comes to hierarchy, protocol in the country rests on the Southeast, which means the Senate President, in fact, we saw from Evans and Werem to Okadigbo and the others and all of that, and they were the heads of the Senate, the law-making body, and they had a lot of influence and so on. In fact, we remember how powerful Chubo Okadigbo was, that he first of all muted the move to impeach the president at the time, even though they didn't succeed and all of that. Under the Jonathan administration, between 2011 and 2015, we saw how the administration was very friendly to the Southeast and all of that. We were thinking that at those bracket times, the Southeast would have been all of those agitation, all of those issues that you use the word deprivation would have been handled. Yes. So do you think it's about the Nigeria against the Southeast, or even those who come from the Southeast are not even they're not even doing what they're supposed to do?
Mike, that's why I said earlier that it seems to the people that it is a state policy against the Southeast. We talked and talked and talked about Enugu Onitsha Express Road under Jonathan administration, and nothing was done. So, and that is why I don't believe in this thing, oh, my brother must be this, my brother must be that. What I believe in is that my people must have this.
So do you, but let me add this before you.
Yes.
An agency or a body like IPOB, do you think they should have originally started channeling that agitation to their leaders first, even before the Nigerian government?
The IPOB had a different agenda. I don't hear their voice, but I can only feel their action, just like every other Nigerian can feel their action. From what I feel about them, they feel they would have looked at the Nigerian state since 1970 after the war, and then looked at the environment since 1970 after the war, and up to this moment, and they would have felt a sense of loss of confidence. And then that may have given them the impetus to say, let us be on our own. And then having heard that some other regions around the world are also pushing hard, and then having heard that United Nations can always enshrined in their charter that you have the right for self-determination. And then with all this, they keep pushing. And then with government not handling the thing well, they keep pushing harder. That is why people have challenged government that if you had done what you should have done in the Southeast, it is the same brothers of Nnamdi Kanu and his group that will draw their ears and put them down.
All right, let's bring in Foladele at this time to tell us what people are saying about it online. Morning, Foladele.
Good morning, Azizat.
Morning, Fola. Nice to see you.
Good morning, Fred. Lovely to see you.
Good morning.
All right, so let's get into the tweets. Ms. Kazola says, is it normal to kill stone throwing IPOB members but dialogue and negotiate with Boko Haram? Can't you guys see something is seriously wrong? Kayode Ogundamisi says, in 2017, OBJ to Buhari, dialogue with IPOB in 1999, OBJ in bracket OPC should be shot at sight. OBJ in November 1999, OBJ also mobilized army to Southwest. Olawoye says, but I don't subscribe to violence in Nigeria. Let the government dialogue with IPOB leaders and avert bloodshed. Enyafelamo says, Boko Haram and IPOB have very little things in common. Boko Haram started and continued with killings. IPOB started with dialogue. And the next one, sorry. Yeah, Razaku says, this was exactly what emboldened Boko, the mention of the word dialogue. Then we don't need police or army again now. Dialogue, shaking my head. All right, Fred, let me quickly come to you on this one. You spoke about mouthing earlier. Yes. Now, sometime last month, Nnamdi Kanu personally signed a statement that said that pro-Biafra agitators will continue to use civil disobedience as a weapon against the government. Now, fast forward to this month, where this week we hear that 7 members of IPOB are allegedly, are in court over alleged cases of murder, of breach of security, of property destruction. Do you still think they're mouthing, like you put it?
Wouldn't you have assumed that those 7 were charged falsely? Wouldn't you wait until the court pronounced them guilty, having gone through the due trial of the court, before we conclude that they had? Is it a case of calling a dog a bad name in order to hang it?
Okay, so if truly they are guilty, would you still say that they were mouthing? Would you still say that they were just calling the government bluff?
That is if.
Okay, so
but if they are not.
But if they are?
Maybe they're not.
Oh, yeah. All right.
You see how beautiful the law is?
Yes.
You know,
Fred.
you can feel this way.
If they're
Yes,
not.
but Fred, the IPOB said there won't be an election in November. So, but we have to wrap it up because of time.
Yes,
So that is something against the group anyway.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Fred Nziako.
Fred Nziako, thank you.
You're a lawyer and you proved it on
Very
Saturday.
nice,
Thank you very much for
Very
the
nice.
analysis on this. Thank you for that.
Thank you for that. Thank you so much. Well, when it comes to IPOB discussions, it's really very interesting, I must say.
Indeed.
Thank you very much.